What's up, YouTube? The season is about to end, so I thought I would do a end of season tier list for ranked Pokemon TCG Pocket. This ranked season has been, honestly, I would think that I'd like it a lot because this is probably the most diverse we've ever had in ranked. But honestly, at the same time, it's been extremely frustrating because that means there's just so much more to worry about and there's so many matchups and it just becomes a rock, paper, scissors game, right? So there's been a lot of counter that's been happening in this season, but I think there's still some outlier decks that have proven to be the best ones and the ones that have been able to get me the most points and other people the most points as well. Right now, I'm still trying to get back into top 10K. Honestly, people grind this game really, really hard. I've already got my 10K badge. I wanted my 5K, but it's looking like it might not be this season as either. Honestly, the streaks have been crazy. It feels like ranked has been all about streaks, but yeah, so let's get started. Obviously, well, I don't think obviously. I think the top 4 decks in this meta, the ones that I will put in S tier, they're pretty interchangeable, so I think they're all really good, and honestly, whoever you end up facing in ranked will pretty much determine whether you'll get that win or loss. But just from statistics from tournaments and what I have experienced from my games, I am gonna put Espeon and Sylveon as number 1. This has my highest win percentage so far, and I think this is the deck you're gonna see the most, and this has been the most, pretty much the game-changing, deck-changing, this was the deck that changed the game the most for the meta. Pretty much, I think the thing that changed the most about it is that it completely shut down the Oricorio Greninja Giratina matchup because that 30 healing was it's just insane. It's just really funny too how no one thought that Espeon would have been good. We were all looking at Umbreon during the leaks and it ended up being Espeon being the best card. Honestly, but the Espeon is kind of it's not nothing, but it's not as strong unless you have the Sylveon drawing your entire deck. So it's so easy to figure it out. People have been messing around with the deck, adding the Espeon, non-EX Espeon to help with the Giratina matchup. But Espeon wins so many matchups. It pretty much only loses to Guzzlord, and I would give a slight edge to Giratina Darkrai against Espeon, but it's honestly almost 50-50 to be honest. But yeah, that's why a lot of Guzzlord decks came out, because it was a pretty strong against Espeon, since Guzzlord's 120 will kill Espeon in one shot unless it has the Giant Cape. But Guzzlord usually will run a Guzma, so there's usually a winning matchup for the Guzzlord. Number 2, I will give it to the LeBron of Pokemon TCG Pocket Darkrai Giratina. This deck is just the deck that will not die. It's just so consistent. I think what makes it so good is that you only need 4 basics. It's very easy to draw what you need to draw, and then you just have a ton of support cards to help you win the game. You just have this giant toolbox of things you could use, and it's just so consistent. Honestly, I'm hoping that, I don't know if you guys saw that there's rumors that we might have rotation coming in with the next set in September or October with the Megas. So if we have rotation, that would mean that these cards from this entire year will not be available to use. I think the best way to do it would to be have a ranked mode where rotation is available and you could only use cards from the new set. That would honestly it'd be so much more refreshing. We wouldn't have to deal with Darkrai Giratina anymore. Rare Candy wouldn't be a thing anymore. Greninja wouldn't be a thing anymore. Sylveon wouldn't be a thing anymore. I think they can't do rotation for everything, or else people would obviously be pissed for good reason. We have an entire year to collect cards, we won't be able to use it. It would be kind of dumb. But if they do a ranked season where rotation is in place and we could only use the new cards, I would actually love that, because this season has been very frustrating with all the Cyrus play and all the Greninjas and Darkrai Giratina, Sylveon, rare candies. It's just, the power creep has just been insane. I'd love for us to just reset everything. But yeah, Darkrai Giratina, honestly, it doesn't have a direct bad matchup. The worst matchup it has is Buzzwole, and honestly, you still will win against Buzzwole. It's not like a crazy bad matchup to have as Giratina Darkrai. And that's why Giratina Darkrai is still up here. Arguably number 1, it is pretty much more consistent without any worse cards. I'm just gonna put Espeon up there just because it is fresh and it's the highest win percentage in tournaments. It's what got me the most wins too. In third place, we will give it to the Guzzlord. So this, there's so many different Guzzlord decks, so I'm just gonna put Guzzlord as Guzzlord. Yeah, who would have thought Guzzlord would be this good either? Honestly, I felt like I was an early user of Guzzlord last season. Guzzlord is just secretly really good. That grindcore could win you so many games. And honestly, the chip damage with the poison is actually very underrated. People aren't running PCL anymore, Pokemon Center Lady, so once they're poisoned, they're kind of poisoned for good unless they do a retreat. It just does so much damage. Also, Guzzlord will be up here because it is the one direct counter to Espeon. You won't win every game against Espeon, but it's probably the best option you have to beat an Espeon deck. And that's why I will put Guzzlord up there. It won me a ton of games too because at a certain point, everyone was just running Espeon for good reason. And that was kind of how it went during week 2. Once everyone got their Espeon decks out, everyone was using Espeon, so I felt like I had to start using Guzzlord. But then a bunch of Guzzlord decks started coming out, and that's where we come out with the 4th deck, the counter to Guzzlord, and the counter to Darkrai Giratina too, Buzzwole. Buzzwole is making a comeback because fire decks are just not as popular anymore. Is really good against Darkrai Giratina. It's pretty good against Guzzlord. You do lose against Espeon, but if you get second turn against Espeon, honestly, it's almost 50-50. Buzzwole with Cyrus is just really, really good. It's always been good. Lusamine is so solid. It's just really strong, man. The fact that you could just retreat for free is just crazy. It feels super consistent too. I don't know why it feels like you'll always have a Celesteela and a Pheromosa, even though you have so much basics running. But honestly, these 4 decks have been running the entire meta, and it does feel a little stale because now you're running into this. It's not even rock, paper, scissors anymore. You have a 25% chance of running into all these decks. These are the 4 most popular decks for sure. At least in like higher Master Ball. I don't know what's going on in the 1450 Master Ball range or an Ultra Ball, but these 4 decks are pretty much running the entire meta. I don't know how it's gonna go during the next mini set, if they're gonna make something that is actually groundbreaking that will change it all. We'll kind of see how it goes. Honestly, there's about 5 days left until 5 to 7 days, I think, till the next season. So we'll see how it goes. So after the S tier, we have the A tier decks, which are also very, very strong. I just think they're not exactly counter picks to the meta, but they still do really well. And right up there, this is like borderline S. We have the Turbo Arceus with the Pichu deck. This deck, obviously, they usually run it with Oricorio and Zeraora. This deck is really, really good if you get the perfect hand, the perfect start. You pretty much don't lose. So if you get second turn with Pichu in the front and Arceus in the back, you are probably going to be attacking with Arceus like on your second turn, and you're probably going to win that game. With the addition of like Alima and Elemental Switch, it's extremely strong. I think its only drawback is that it can be inconsistent. And honestly, in ranked, win streaks are pretty much how you get all your points. So you need a consistent deck. That's why I don't like running this deck, because it could ruin my entire win streak if I just brick. And honestly, I would say you brick, who knows, like 30% of the time. So you're probably not going to get a 4-game win streak. Like, it's good. It's a very slow climb deck. You will win. You'll definitely win 50% of your games, but 50% of your games is not going to get your rank up in Master Ball. And that's why that's the biggest drawback. Like, honestly, if you have Arceus if you have to start off with Arceus in the front and your first turn and you can't find your Alima or Leaf, you're pretty much dead in the water, and it's like pretty much an auto concede. But besides that, it's very strong. It is very strong. It's pretty much a glass cannon deck. You either know in your starting hand whether you win or you lose. So let's go on to the next A tier. I think after these 5 decks, there's I would call it a pretty big fall off. These 5 are definitely like the best ones. The next deck, I will actually give it to the Darkrai Tyrogue deck. I actually really do like this deck. It's almost kind of a counter deck too, because Tyrogue just does so well into the EVs and the Guzzlords and the Oricorios. So it's just really strong to start. You don't need any energy to attack with Tyrogue, and if you get a Tyrogue in the front and a Darkrai in the back, and you're facing someone that is weak against fighting, you are hitting for 60 off of one energy right off the bat. This deck has been really strong. Again, it's just inconsistent. You're kind of hoping that you start with the Tyrogue in the front and Darkrai in the back, but sometimes it just kind of doesn't work that way, which is really unfortunate, but it is really strong, and I liked using it for a while. It's pretty much just good because it counters like a bunch of stuff. That Tyrogue is just strong against so many different things in the meta. The next deck I am going to put up is Flareon Leafeon. I'll actually include the Flareon Magby one, so I'm gonna just call this the Flareon deck. That's the next one up. It's just really strong. You can just one-shot a lot of people with Red and Eevee Bag. Flareon is like the Flareon Leafeon was actually one of my favorite decks from last season. Unfortunately, it doesn't hold up right now in this season. There's just too much good stuff going on, but it's still an extremely strong deck. With the Magby, it's actually really fun with the extra. You have the normal Flareons and the Flareon EXs and Magbys, and when you attack with the GA Flareon, you lose an energy, so then you can just attach it to your Flareon EX. So you do have that detachment, and honestly 110 is a lot of damage, and he has about I think he has like 120 health as well. He's just really bulky for a one prize point attacker. But actually I forgot to include one more deck, which actually I am gonna put above these two, and it's good old Charizard Sylveon. My most hated deck. I am so happy that people stopped playing this deck. I'm actually unsure why they stopped playing it, because it is so strong. I think people were honestly just bored of using it. It's so strong, and your only weakness is kind of yourself. Like, if you brick, that's the only thing that's stopping you, but with Sylveon, you rarely brick. So you're honestly getting your Charizard out really quickly. For me though, I kind of never use it too much because I just have terrible luck, and I felt like every time I used it, it was not working out for me. But every time I play against a Charizard, I swear to God, I lose 70% of the time. I always have trouble against Charizard Sylveon. It's still very strong. At the Pokemon World Tournament, the winner for the double deck tournament actually was using Charizard Sylveon and Buzzwole. So Charizard Sylveon is definitely up there. I would put it up in S, but I can't because it hasn't been performing well in tournaments and no one's really using it. But it's definitely a sleeper deck, and if you could get over it being boring, then I think it's definitely a solid deck to use. It's still going to be good next season. It's just always going to be good. But yeah, it's just really boring to play. It's just, there's only one win condition. It's really brain dead. But it is what it is. After these decks, now we're gonna start falling off. Now we're gonna have like the B tier decks, which aren't as good. So this is where I will put the original. So this was the best deck of last season, Greninja, Sylveon, and there's also a Giratina in this. It had a giant fall off just because of Espeon. It's just because of Espeon. Honestly, Espeon like counters it so hard with just a 30 healing, so Greninja's pings aren't as strong. But when people stopped using Espeon as much because they're getting countered by Guzzlord, this deck was really strong again, and I saw people running it. I also think people kind of had fatigue of using it as well, just kind of like Charizard, but it's just really strong, man. You're just drawing everything. It's so easy to find your Greninja. Greninja's a crazy win condition. If you get two Greninjas, it's pretty much an auto win, and with Sylveon, you are drawing your entire deck. But yeah, no, it's super strong. Unfortunately, Espeon just kind of buried it and brought it down all the way to B tier in my tier list. Right after this, I will give it to the Crobat deck. Now, the Crobat deck has a lot of different variations. You could pair it with Sylveon, you could pair it with the Jellyfish, you could pair it with Darkrai, but I'll just put it as Crobat. This was actually the deck that I played at the very beginning of the season. That's what brought me to Master Ball. This is the deck that people actually thought would be the best. A lot of people thought this would be the best deck in the game when the leaks came out, but we found out that it's actually not that strong, unfortunately. It's just a rare candy issue. If you do play it with Sylveon so that you could find your Crobat, it just takes up so much deck space, and then you can't fit the Jellyfish in there, or maybe even the Darkrai. You just have less cards to work with. So I actually was doing better when I paired it with no Sylveon and just kind of banked on finding my Crobat naturally. You actually do a lot of chip damage with Zubat, because Zubat, it poisons, hits for 10, poisons, and if you have a Jellyfish on the bench, then you're poisoning for 20 to 30, and then you're using Darkrai, so you're pinging for 20. So it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, it's just inconsistent and weak. So it's not like Arceus Pichu where you know you're gonna win right away when you get a good hand. Like, even if you get the God Hand with Crobat, it's still not guaranteed that you're gonna win. But yeah, it's honestly a really good deck. It's really fun. It's pretty meta, but just not good enough. So the next deck, I'm actually gonna put the Ho-Oh. We'll call it the Ho-Oh Lugia deck. There's different ones. You could run it with just Lugia. You could run it with the Snorlax. I think a lot of people would put the Snorlax Ho-Oh Lugia or the Ho-Oh Snorlax one a little higher than I did. I just think it's not good for grinding rank because it's extremely slow with Snorlax. Every game will go 10 minutes, and honestly, if you're trying to rank up, you only have so much time in the day, unless you're a player that's playing like 12 hours a day. There's no point in running the Snorlax deck. It's just way too slow for a deck that isn't guaranteed you to win. It's extremely boring because it's so slow. It does win you games though, but I would say like it only wins you 50% of the game. So if you're playing 10-minute games only to just pray that you get a 50% game, then I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just kind of the whole Lugia thing is just they're missing one card, because it's honestly really strong. It's really strong, but it's just a little inconsistent. But if you get that God Hand where you do have the Pichu up front and you're able to power up your Ho-Oh really quick, and you have a Lugia on the bench, then you pretty much win. So it's a Glass Cannon deck as well. It's just less inconsistent than the Arceus one. I feel like some decks have like a secret algorithm that makes them more inconsistent than others. You know what I mean? Like for Buzzwole, I don't know why it's so consistent with getting the cards you need. I couldn't tell you. It's really strange. The next deck I am gonna put. Actually, do I want to put anything else in B? I don't know if I'll put anything else in B, to be honest with you. I think at the very bottom of B to C, I'm gonna put the fighting deck with Donphan. It's just it's not strong enough. I think Donphan, it's great on paper. Like you could hit for 50 off your first energy, but I think the issue is that it only hits for 110 on the 3 energy. If they made it even 120, it would have been better. But 110 is just such a small amount, and like it just doesn't get you enough, and you gotta pray that you get your Lucario out. The Hitmontop is pretty good though. If you pair it, we'll include this as like the fighting deck with Lucario. It runs really strong into EVs, and it runs really strong to Oricorios. The problem is just like finishing. Like it is just not strong enough to finish. Like if the person gets out their win condition, like you pretty much lose. It's just not strong enough. But you do get some wins there just because it counters a lot of decks in the early game, but in the end game, it's kind of hard to finish and get those 3 points. So it's like this is on the brink of B and C. So we'll begin C tier. I am going to put. There's a toss up between these two are interchangeable. I'm gonna put Dragonite and Solgaleo at the top of C tier. These could still win you games for sure. I think Solgaleo is still kind of good. It's just the 120 kind of sucks, man. Like it's really strong in Ultra Ball. It will get you to Master Ball, but in Master Ball, it just can't hang. There's like what 10 decks that are better than it. Like it's really strong. There's so many good decks here, but it's just too weak. The 120 is just not good enough. You don't have a secondary as well, because Sylveon can't attack, so you're kind of just hoping you get 2 Solgaleos. Sometimes you don't get 2 Solgaleos, so you're kind of stuck with 1. It's only hitting for 120. It's not good enough to sweep. Yeah, I'll put it above the Dragonite though. Like I really want the Solgaleo to be good, even though it's funny, people think it's so broken, but it really isn't, and it's shown that it's not broken. No one runs it in tournaments at all. It doesn't do too well in Master Ball, but on paper it's kind of really strong, but it just doesn't work too well. It's also kind of weak against Oricorio because you have to find your single Majerna. Yeah, just not too great. I want Dragonite to be good. I really want Dragonite to be good, but it's just the multi-energy thing is just really hard. It's really difficult to get at, you know what I mean? And the fact that you can't attack, so you're kind of praying that you're able to get a Lyra as well. There's kind of too many win conditions to be able to get the Dragonite to kill, and you're probably gonna have to kill two. Let's go on to the next C tier. I'm actually gonna put. Funny enough, Gyarados had a small run. Gyarados had a small run at the end. It's just the discarding of a random energy. The fact that you could sacrifice 2 Manaphy's to get to your Gyarados, it was just kind of funny to see Gyarados have a little bit of a meme run at the end. I don't think it's a D tier deck, but it could definitely win you games. Again, this is all about streak, so it's kind of inconsistent. It can win you the 50% of the games, but then you gotta hope that you kind of balance that out with some really good win streaks. On the D tier, actually at the bottom of the C tier, I'm gonna put Skarmory. Sometimes I hate facing this Skarmory, and low-key it's really good against Espeon because Espeon doesn't hit for hard, and Skarmory is extremely bulky with all the new support cards that go with it to make it so you don't take as much damage. There was a time where I felt like Skarmory might be extremely broken. I think it's still pretty good, but it just loses against the bigger hitters. Like you are gonna lose against Giratina Darkrai for sure. It's pretty bad against Guzzlord. It will lose against Charizard for sure. It will lose against Flareon, but it low-key it's really good against Espeon. And when I was playing Espeon and I'd face Skarmory, like I would lose pretty often. Now on the D tier, we are gonna put things like Magcargo. It's just a meme deck, YouTube deck. You get to Master Ball it with it. Umbreon unfortunately had a giant fall off. We thought that it was all gonna be good, but it's funny. Like, yeah, we don't need to have unlimited Cyruses, to be honest. Like, having Cyrus as a card is honestly good enough. You know what? I'll put the Will Executor deck above Magcargo and almost in C tier. It's actually low-key kind of good, I won't lie. Again, not too consistent, but at least it's fun, and I think you'll actually win more games with Executor than you will with Magcargo. The only good thing with Magcargo is that you kind of go through games really quickly, and I know a lot of Japanese players were kind of running Magcargo as a break from their brain, so they didn't have to think too hard while they're grinding out 12 hours a day, because it could still win you games. There's still like Silvally Rampardos. I would put Silvally Rampardos still like in C tier. Low-key, I'd put Silvally Rampardos top of C, actually. I would. Because honestly, if you get a Rampardos out, it's pretty much a win. If you get it out early, it's a win. Silvally is always really good. Did I even put a Silvally up in like A? I didn't, sorry. I should put Turbo Silvally. Low-key, it's somewhere here. It's somewhere around the Darkrai. Yeah, I think it's better than the Darkrai one, actually. Honestly, the Silvally Pichu, you pair it with so many different things, but even you pair it with Arceus sometimes, but Silvally with Pichu, like, you have again, if you get the perfect hand, you're probably gonna win right away. It's just really strong, and you pair that with like something like Darkrai as well. It's just really, really strong. I actually just forgot about that because there's a point where you wouldn't see it as much anymore. And there's just so many variations. You could play with Oricorio as well. Here's the Oricorio one. Incineroar, honestly, I'd put it above Umbreon, but it's also not very good. Kind of on paper, it's really good in your head, but there's no point in running Incineroar when you have something like Charizard, right? Is there any other decks? You know what's funny? We never got to see a Magnezone. Usually at the end of ranked seasons, the Magnezone comes out and it has like a little bit of run, but we didn't really see that. But yeah, I think this is my tier list for the end of the season for Wisdom of Sea and Sky. I'm really excited to see Actually, I'm not too excited for the next mini set. I don't know if it's gonna be that groundbreaking, but hopefully in September we're gonna get the megas, and we're gonna get hopefully rotation. So we're gonna freshen up ranked, because ranked is getting very, very stale to play. I'll be honest with you. And honestly, like, I am not looking forward to having to grind out and facing Sylveon over and over again. So we'll see how groundbreaking the next mini set's gonna be. We'll probably get EXs for things like Feraligatr and the legendary dogs, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I want to grind as hard for ranked on the next season. With OC and Sky, honestly, it did bring a lot of. It was more interesting because we had so many different decks with the babies and Ho-Oh and Espeon. So we'll see how groundbreaking the next set's gonna be and what kind of cards they could add. I'm actually interested to see what kind of support and item cards they could add to kind of shake things up. Because Silver was a pretty cool change. That's probably definitely the best support card. Will gets a second place, but that Silver could honestly win you games if you use it correctly, either early game or very late game. Take your pick. But yeah, this was pretty fun to make this tier list. Hopefully you're able to find something that you liked about it, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'll be posting a lot more because the new season's gonna start, so there's gonna be a lot more content. And yeah, good luck with the last minute grind if you're trying to hit Master Roll, if you're trying to hit 10k, 5k, 1k, Great Ball, whatever it may be. Yeah, have fun guys, take care.